Hi guys, in this session we're going to solve the whole paper from Form 2 Necta Past Paper 2017. So there are 10 questions in here and you need to answer all questions because it says there are 10 compulsory questions. It means you need to answer all questions. Okay, so let's start with question 1. Question 1a says find the lowest common multiple and greatest common factor of 13, 52 and 104. So how do we do this? We've got three numbers. Well, I'm going to show you how to do prime factor trees. So we're going to find factors of these numbers as prime numbers. So the first number is 13. Well, you can't break this number down, so we're just going to leave that as it is. The second number is 52. So we can break this number up and have, let's say, 2 times 26. So 2 is a prime number, so we're going to circle it, okay? And then we got 26. We can do 2 times 13. So these are now both prime numbers, so we're going to circle them. So 52 is equal to 2 times 2, so we take the numbers in the circle. 2 times 2 times 13. And the last number that we have is 104. So let's do a factor tree for that number. So 104. What we can do again is halve it. Halving it means divide by 2. So we can do 2 times what? Well, 52. Well, this is a prime number, so we're going to break it. But if you see 52 is over here, 2 times 2 times 3, you can carry on and do 2 times 26, or you can just go ahead and use these numbers here. So anyway, let's just complete it. 2 times 26. So 26 is not a prime number. We're going to carry on. So that is 2 times 13. Now we've got all the prime numbers. So 104 is the same as 2 times 2 times 2 times 13. So now how do we go about finding first the lowest common multiple and then greatest common factor? Well, I will advise you to do Venn diagrams. So we've got three numbers, 13, 52, 104. So let's just do the three circles. So we got one circle and then we have another circle and we have another circle. Then the reason for these three circles is because we have three numbers, 13, 52, 104. So I'm going to call this circle here as 13, this one here as 52, and this circle is all the number that represent 104. Now what do we do? Well, we look at the common numbers. So we can see 13 is common amongst all the numbers, right? There's 13 in here, 13 there, and 13 there. So we can cross that out so we don't forget, and then put that number in the middle. And then we can see there is a 2 and 2 in these two numbers, 52 and 104. So they are only common on the intersection of these two numbers, 52 and 104. So there are two 2's in here and there are two 2's in here which are common. So we're going to cross those two 2's and put them where the two numbers intersect. And now there is one 2 left which belongs to 104. So what do? You put that outside of this circle. Okay, so you can see 13 is common amongst all three numbers. Now, how do we find lowest common multiple? We find lowest common multiple by multiplying all the numbers in the Venn diagram. So that's 13 times these 3 2's. So times 2, times 2, times 2. And what you get? Well, 13 times 2 is 26. 26 times 2 is 52. 52 times 2 is 104. So the lowest common multiple of these 3 numbers is 104. Well, what's the greatest common factor? Greatest common factor is the number in the middle. Well, we only have one number in there, 13. So that is just going to be 13. And that is the answer for 1A. Now for question B, we're told to round off the number 568356 to the nearest thousands first, and then to the nearest 10,000s. So what do we do? Let's write this number here. So we got 5, 6, 8, 3, 5, 6. So first of all, we need to locate the 1,000, and then we need to locate the 10,000 before we're able to do this. So the first number from right is a unit. Then we got the tens. Then we got the hundreds. And then we got the thousands. And then we got the 10,000. And then we got the 100,000. So for the first one, the 1,000, we want to round this number up, the 8. Okay, so before we can round this number, we need to look at what is the next number. Is it 5 or more? Well, it is 3. It's less than 5, which means if I want to round it to the nearest 1,000, I have to keep 8 as it is. So to the nearest 1,000, this number is going to be equal to 5, 6, 8, and then the rest become zeros. Okay, so now it's going to be 568. Now to the nearest 10,000 then, well, we need to round this number up. So that means we look at the next number. The next number, is it 5 or more? Yes, of course, it is 8. So that means this 6 becomes 7 now. So we write 5, 7, and the rest becomes 0. So 1, 2, 0. There is 4 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we put 4 zeros. So I hope that makes sense. And now for question 2A, we're asked to determine the improper fraction of 3/5 times 4 1/5 divided by 18 over 25. So let me rewrite to start with. So 3/5 times 4 1/5 divided by 18 over 25. Right, so first of all, we got multiplication and division. You can think of BIDMAS here, but it doesn't really matter because BIDMAS say we need to do division first, multiplication, but doing division and then multiplying, or doing multiplying and then dividing is the same thing. So you will get the same answer if you start with these two fractions and then dealing with that one, or dealing with these two first and then multiplying with 3/5. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with the two lots first. So that is going to be equal to 3/5. You must convert your fractions, the mixed numbers. So that is going to be equal to 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 is 21 over 5. And then we still have divide by 18 over 25. So let's just put these together. So this will give you, if I go up here, this will give you 3 times 21, that is 63, over 5 times 5, that's going to be 25. And then now we know if we have division, we need to change that to multiplication and flip the fraction on the right. So this is now going to be 25 over 18. This and this will cancel, and then we can see these are multiples of 9. So there are 2 9s here and there are 7 9 here. So the answer is 7 over 2, and we're going to leave this as improper fraction as asked over here. And now for 2b, we're asked to convert 1 over 3 into a repeating decimal. So I'm just going to use my short division here. I've got 1. Well, how many 3's are in 1? Well, 0. And then I have to put a decimal, and now I have to add 0 every time I go. So I've got 10. 10, how many 3's are in 10? Well, there are 3. And what's the remainder? The remainder is 1, because 3 times 3 is 10. I put another 0, then I get another 10, and another 0, and then I get another 10, and this goes on forever. So the way we write this as a repeating decimal or recurring decimal is 0.3 with a dot on top. And now for question 3a, we're asked to change 15 kilometers into centimeters. Well, we have 15 kilometers. What will be the best thing to do is change the number first into meters, and then from there we change them into centimeters. So from kilometers, what do we need to do? Kilo means 1,000. So 15,000 meters, that's what it means. So we need to multiply by 1,000, and that is going to give us 15,000 meter. Now from meter we need to move on to centimeters. Well, 1 meter has 100 centimeters, so we need to multiply by 100, and now we get 1, 5, and 5 zeros. And that's the answer for 3a. Now question 3b, we're asked to find the time in which 200,000 shillings will earn 48,000 at the rate of 4% interest per annum. So your initial investment is 200,000 shillings. So let's just put there. And we are going to earn 4% per annum. Per annum, it means per year. Now, because the question doesn't tell us if it is compound interest that is going to be earned or simple interest, I'm going to assume this is going to be simple interest. So I'm going to write down here simple interest. What does that mean? It means the interest that you earn every year stays the same. It does not change. Okay, so let's work out what interest we get for the first year. So interest earned in the first year is going to be equal to 4% of that. So 4% of 200,000. Now, if you're not sure how to calculate this, you can find 1% first. So 1% of 200,000. How do you do that? Well, if you are looking for 10%, you divide the number by 10. If you're looking for 1%, we need to divide this one by 100. So I'll just write it here for your reference. Divide by 100. 200,000 divided by 100 will give you 2,000 shillings. Okay, so that is the interest. That's 1%. So we want 4%. So 4% of 200,000. What's that going to be? If 1% is 2,000, well, 4% is going to be 4 times of that. So 2,000 shillings times 4 That's going to be 8,000 shillings. Okay, so each year you get 8,000 shillings. 8,000 shillings. Now, how long will it take you to get an interest of 48,000? Well, we know if you do 48,000 divided by 8, that will give you 6. So it will take 6 years. In order to find that, you can do here the number of years is going to be equal to 48,000 divided by what you earn every year, which is going to be 6 years. Now for question A, we have a geometry question. Right, this I can see I have parallel lines here, so angles in parallel lines. In the following figure, AB is parallel to, so A is here, B is there, parallel to this line PQ, and RS is a transversal. So a transversal is just a line that cuts through parallel lines. So find the angles, label A, B, W, X, Y, Z. So what is A to start with? Well, I've got here, this is 30 degrees. So I'm going to write it just in case you can't see. That is given. So A is going to be equal to 30 degrees. Okay, so what's the reason? Opposite angles are equal. Okay, so you must give a reason. So A is done, and now we need to look for B. So B is equal to, where is B? B is over here. So we can see we have a straight line here. So B is going to be equal to 180 take away 30. So B is 180 degrees take away 30 degrees. And what's the reason? Well, angles in a straight line add up to 180 degrees. So B is going to be equal to 150 degrees. So B is done now. Let's go to W. Well, W, what's the W? Well, W is going to be the same as B. And what's the reason? Well, the reason are vertically opposite angle, same as A, are equal. Okay, vertical opposite angles are equal. Right, next one then is Y. So Y is over here. Again, we got 150 degrees. What do you think Y is? Well, yes, you're right. Y is going to be equal to 150 degrees because it's opposite to this angle here, which is 150 degrees. And we're going to write the same reason. So make sure you write that in your exam or test. Vertically opposite angles are equal. And the last angle that we need is Z. Z is over here, right? So again, Z is going to be equal to, beg your pardon there, because I couldn't see my pen. Z is going to be equal to 180 take away 150 because we have a semicircle there, angles in a straight line. Okay, so Z is equal to 180 take away 150, which is going to be equal to 30 degrees. Put down the reason, angles in a straight line add up to 180 degrees. And for question 4b, we're asked to find the perimeter of a square if its area is 25 centimeters square. So I'm just going to draw my square. It's not going to be accurate because I'm just doing this by hand. So let's say I have this square. What is a square? So if this one is x, we'll have x, and this one is going to be x centimeters, x centimeters. Now because it's a square, how do we find the we need to find a perimeter, which means we need to know the measurement, but we're given the area. So what we can do is find the area of the square. What is the area? Well, it's just length times width. Okay, so area of a square or rectangles is length times width, and they are both the same, so it's x times x, which is going to be x squared. But we know that information is given, so x squared is, because we're told here the area is 25, so x squared must be equal to 25, and x is going to be the square root of 25, which is equal to 5 centimeters. So we're dealing with length, you must take the positive answer to the square root. All right, so what is a perimeter? Now that's 5 centimeters. This is 5 centimeters, and that's 5 centimeters, and this is going to be 5 centimeters. So therefore perimeter is all the distance around the shapes added up together. So it's 5 times 5, 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, which is going to be 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, which is 20 centimeters. You can easily also do 5 times 4 because there are 4 sides, which will give you the same answer, 20 centimeters. And now for 5a, we are asked to find the value of x in the equation 9 times 3 to the power 4x equals to 27 to the power of x minus 1. Okay, so let me rewrite that. So we need to find x where we have 9 times 3 to the power 4x equals to 27 to the power x minus 1. Right, so how do we go about on solving these type of questions? We have indices. Well, the trick is to have the same base, and we have a clue here. We have a 3. Can we convert that as powers of 3? Can we convert this to the power 3? Of course we can, because 9 is 3 squared times, well, we still have 3 to the power 4x equals 2. What is 27? Well, that is 3 to the power 3, and then we still have x minus 1 out here. Right, what do we do with indices when we multiply? What do we do with their powers? Well, we add their powers. So this now becomes 3 2 plus 4x. So 3 to the power 2 plus 4x. And this is going to be equal to, again, what do we do with brackets? Here we have powers and brackets. Well, we multiply the powers. So here you will have 3, and then 3 times x is 3x. And then 3 times negative 1, that's going to give you negative 3. Oh, look what we have. Now we have 3 here and 3 here, and then we have their powers. But we're told they are equal. That means the powers must also be equal. This means I can just take the power. So 2 plus 4x, that power there, that's going to be equal to this power here. So that's going to be 3x minus 3. Oh, look what we have. A linear equation. So we can rearrange this. Well, we got 4x here and we have 3x here. So we have x on both sides. And the way to do it, get rid of the small x first. So we're going to take away 3x on both sides. And just carry on over here. So now we're left with 2 plus 4x take away 3x is just 1x, which we write it like that, equals to 3x take away 3x. And then that is gone, equal to negative 3. Now we need to get rid of the 2. So take away 2 because it is a positive number there. and we have to take away 2 there. So 2 take away 2 is 0, and then we're just left with x. And on this side, we now have -3, -2, take away 2. So we have -5. So x is equal to -5. That is done. And now for 5b, we are asked to factorize the expression here. 6x squared, so I'm going to write it here, 6x squared minus 11x plus 4 by splitting the middle term. Okay, so the middle term is this term here. There's a trick to this because sometimes it can be a little bit tricky, especially when you're doing exams. So what I do, I take the number that doesn't have x and then this number here with x squared and multiply them together. So 6 and 4. What do? Multiply them. So 6 times 4 is 24. And then I look for the number that makes 24, which will give you 11. So 24, I can do 6 times 4. Will that give me 11? No. So let's just write them anyway. This does not give me 11. I've got 3 times 8. Will this give me 11? Well, I need -11 actually. So yes, -3 and -8 will give me -11. The other one, 2 times 12, that is not going to give me 11. So my numbers that I need are 3 and 8. Now because I've got -11, I'm going to have a -3 and a -8. So I'm going to rewrite that as 6x squared. Now I can see 3 goes well with 6, so I'm going to start by writing -3x. It doesn't really matter, you will still have the same answer if you start with 8x. So minus 8x plus 4. So now I have split my middle term. You can imagine a line there. We're going to factorize this part first and then this part, okay? So common here is a 3x, so 3x goes out of the bracket, and then to get a 6 I needed 2 and I have x squared, so I need another x, and then minus, I already have 3x here and I have 3x outside, so I just need a 1 there, -1 because there's negative. Now remember to bring the negative down here as well. So now I'm looking at -8x plus 4. So common here is a 4, so I'm going to have a -4. Now I need to get -8x, so I just need a 2 to make 8 and x to give me my -8x. Now I have a plus here, so you need to be careful, because if I put a plus here and then a negative outside, when I expand, I'm not going to have this plus. So I must put a negative, and I already have a 4 here and I need a 4, so that means I've got a 1 there. Now I've got a common bracket here, which I'm going to take this as my first bracket, so 2x minus 1, and then my next bracket is formed by taking the numbers outside, so that is going to be 3x negative 4. And this question is now complete. The expression is factorized. And now for question 6a, we are asked to find the equation of a straight line passing through the point 3,5 and 7,9, and we need to express our answer in the form y equals mx plus c. So let's just rewrite that. So we have y equals mx plus c. M is the gradient of the line and c is the y-intercept. If we get these two items, we can write the equation of the line. Well, we have 2 points here of a straight line, and let's just see how that might look like. So if I have, we're just doing a little sketch here. So here is y, and on this side we have x. 3, 5. So let's say x, so you know that's x, and that's the value of y there. So if x is 3, 5, let's say that point is there, that point 3, 5. And the next point 7, 9, so let's say that point is over here somewhere, 7, 9. Then we could draw a straight line. Maybe it looks like that, or a little bit steeper. We're just sketching. So what's the slope? What's the gradient of this line? What we can do is take y over x. So gradient, which is m, is going to be the difference in y. So difference in y divide by the difference in x. So let's just write those down. We could do difference in y, do 9 take away 5, so 9 take away 5. Now if you start on that side, then you must also start on that side when you're writing the x. So then it's 7 take away 3. 7 take away 3. So the answer to this is 9 take away 5 is 4. And then 7 take away 3 is also 4. So the gradient for this line is just 1. So now we can write our equation of straight line as y equals to 1x, which is going to be just x because the gradient m is 1. So that's going to be x plus c. So we can't just leave this equation as it is. We need to find what c is. That is when we use one of these coordinates. We can use 0.35 or 0.79. I'm just going to use 0.35 to find the y-intercept. What does this mean? It means I've got x and y here. I can put them in here, and then the only unknown will be c. So my y is 5. I can put 5 here, and my x is 3. And then I will write the rest as it is. Now you can see if I take away 3 on both sides, I'll have 5 take away 3 equals c. So 5 take away 3 is 2. That means c is equal to 2. Now I can then go ahead and say y is equal, what's my m? My m was 1. So I'm just going to write x. There's no point writing 1x. And then my y-intercept is 2. So this is going to be equal to y equals x plus 2. And now for question 6, we're told the vertices of triangle are A 2, 2, B 3, 4, and C 4, 3. If the triangle is reflected in the y-axis, write down the coordinates of the image of points A, B, and C. Right, so let's just draw a quick, well, we're not drawing, we're just sketching here. So make sure you use a ruler and you use a pencil as well. Okay, so we've got our y-axis that way and we've got x-axis on that side. So let's just put a point A, which is 2, 2. So let's say point A is right there. So point A is 2, 2. And then let's put point B, which is 3, 4. So point B is 3, 4. So let's say point B is over here. So that's B, 3, 4. And now let's go ahead and put point C, which is a 4, 3. So 4, 3, let's say 4, 3 is somewhere here. So this is point C, which is 4, 3. Okay, so let's join up our triangle. That's how it looks like. Now we're going to reflect this in the y-axis. So This is the y-axis. Now, when we reflect, what do we have? We have mirrors. So you have to pretend or have to assume the y-axis, this line here, is your mirror. So if you look at yourself, you will see yourself on this side, won't you? This side here. Now, what will this triangle look like if it's looking at the mirror? And the mirror is this y-axis. Well, you're going to have point A reflected the same distance from there to there, but on the other side. So this side, the values of x are negative. This is your 0, 0. So the x coordinate is going to be negative, but it's still on the same line on the y-axis, on the y value. So what we're going to have, point A dash, because it's an image, and the value of x is going to be -2, and the value of y will stay the same. And then we're going to have point B. So point B is the same distance from the mirror on the other side. So let's say roughly point B is over here, and we're going to call it B dash because it's the image. Now what has changed? The y is still in the same position, but the x value is on the negative side. So this 3 is now going to be -3, and the y is the same. Okay. Now let's put point C. So point C is going to be on this side, roughly around there. Okay, so you need to, if you're given a graph paper, something you can do, but otherwise you can do a quick sketch like the way I'm doing. So this point is point C dash now, and the points, the x value would be -4 and the y value stay the same. And now you can join this triangle like that, and you can see it roughly looks the same, and that should be enough to give you full marks. So now question 7a, we're asked to rationalize the denominator of this third. So let me rewrite it so you see it clearly. So we've got √2 over square root of 10 minus square root of 2. What do we need to do if we have third as a denominator? Well, we need to rationalize, and that's what we're going to do. It means we're going to remove the third, the square root. We don't want the square root. And how do we do this? Well, we need to use, because we have two numbers here, we need to use the difference of two squares. So what does that mean? Well, we need to multiply by square root of 10, but instead of having the negative, we're going to have the plus √2. Now we need to balance this, because whatever we do on the denominator, we have to do the same on the numerator. So we have square root of 10 plus square root of 2. Now it is balanced. We can multiply this out. So if I multiply this out, I will get √2 times √10, which is square root of 20, and then √2 times positive √2. So √2 times √2, that will give you a 2. So plus 2, and everything divided by, well, this is the difference of 2 squared. So what we get, we will get a squared minus b squared. Now our a is √10 and our b is √2. So if you, let's square those first of all. 10 squared minus √2 squared. Now we're going to go over here now and continue. So square root of 10 can actually be simplified, because that is the same as square root of 4 times square root of 5. What's the square root of 4? Well, that's going to be 2 root 5. So that is what I'm going to do. You must always simplify your third. So square root of 20 will give me 2 root 5, and then I have a plus 2 here. Divide by square of square root of 10. So if you square root, you will get what the number is in the root. So that will give me 10. Take away square root of 2 square, that will just give me a 2. So now I can go ahead and write this as 2 root 5 plus 2 divided by 8, because 10 take away 2 is 8. Now I can see I could divide this where you can actually factorize if you want. So I'll have 2 root 5 plus just a 1 here, and then I have 8, which will give you square root of 5 plus 1 over 4. So this is now your final answer. Question 7b, we're asked to find the value of this thing or this here without using mathematical tables. So it's a log question. I'm going to rewrite that question so you can see it. So 3 log 5 base 10 plus 5 log 2 base 10, and then minus 2 log 2 base 10. So here we can use multiplication law and division to simplify this. But before you do that, you need to bring these numbers back over here. Okay, so we need to bring them back over here, all these numbers here. So what do we have next then? So we have a log base 10 5. That is now going to be 5 cubed plus log 2 to the power of 5, because that goes back up there, and minus log 2 squared. Right, so we can now say this plus this is the same as a log 5 cubed times 2 to the power 5 divided by 2 squared. So this will give you log 2 squared and then 2 to the power 5 here. That will give you 2 to the power 3. So this would cancel, and then here you would just have 3. So you have a log of 5 base 10. Let's not forget that. 5 cube times 2 cube. That's what we have. So we can write this as log base 10 5 times 2 to the power 3. Now we can remove that 3 and bring it up here. So this will give you 3 log 5 times 2 is 10, and it's a base 10. So this will give you 1. So 3 times 1 is just 3. So your final answer is 3. Hi, now we have question 8a. We're told PQR is an isosceles triangle whereby line PQ is equal to line PR and line QS is equal to line SR. If S is a point between Q and R, prove that triangle PQS is equal to triangle PRS. So before we do anything, let's do a quick sketch of this triangle PQR then, so we know what we're dealing with. So we do something like this, and we have a P, we have Q, and we have R, and we are told PQ is equal to PR, and then we're told S is between Q and R, but we're also told QS is equal to SR. That means S is going to be located halfway between Q and R. So this line is equal to that line SR. Right, so we now have our triangle PQR, but we need to make these two triangle PQS and triangle PRS, which means we need to draw a line right here. So what are we dealing with here? Well, we're dealing with congruency. So what does that mean? For two shapes to be congruent, that means they have to be exactly the same size. So that means we need to prove one of the conditions for congruency. Right, so let's start. We're told line PQ is equal to line PR, so we can see. And then line QS is equal to line SR, and why these are given. And this is also given. But we also know they share the line PS. So what we can say here, triangle PQS and triangle PRS share the line PS. So now we can see the triangle PQS and triangle PRS are exactly the same size because all their sides can match. So we conclude then, therefore, triangle PQS and triangle PRS are congruent. And the reason is side, side, side. All their three sides have the same dimensions. And that's that for question 8. Right, now for 8b, we're told in the following figure, triangle ABC is similar to triangle PQR. So this means similar. AC is equal to 4.8, so let's put that in. This is line AC, and AB is equal to 4 centimeters, and PQ is equal to, PQ is over here 9 centimeters, and we need to find PR. So what is PR? Now, because these two triangles are similar, the ratio of their corresponding sides must be the same. So what does that mean? If I do 9, this side corresponds to this side, and this side corresponds to that side. So if I do 9 divided by 4, then that must be equal to the line PR divided by the corresponding side, which is 4.8. Now, if I rearrange this, I will have PR equals to 9 times 4.8 divided by 4. Now, if I simplify this, there's 1 4 there is 1.24, and then 9 times 1.2, that will give me PR equals, well, 9 times 12 is 108, and that will give me 10.8 as there is a decimal there. So the answer is 10.8. And now for 9a, we're told the sides of an equilateral triangle ABC are 10 centimeters each. Find the length marked AD in third form. Well, if they are all 10 centimeters, that means also from there to there is 10, because why? It's an equilateral triangle. All the sides are equal. But we've got these sides here, which means these two, BD and DC, are equal, which means that's going to be 5 centimeters. And this side is 5 centimeters. So we can use the Pythagoras theorem. we can say this is our C, this is our A, and this is our B. So what do we have? C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. We have the C, so C is 10, so 10 squared equals to A squared, which is what we want in this case, is called AD. So that's AD squared plus our B is going to be 5 squared. So 10 squared is 100 equals to AD squared plus 5 squared is 25. Rearrange this, then you will have AD squared equals to 100 take away 25, which is equal to 75. So AD then is going to be the square root of 75. Remember, you can do this as square root of 25 times square root of 3. So therefore our final answer then will give AD equals to square root of 25 is 5 and root 3. And this is your final answer. So now for question 9b, we're told without using mathematical tables, find the exact value of all this. So the exact value, it means you need to give it in radical form. And we need to find tan 45 degrees and we need to find tan 30 degrees. So tan 45 degrees is going to be equal to 1 because sine 45 is equal to cos 45, and you know tan is equal to sine over cosine, so you'll end up with 1. Now what about tan 30 degrees then? Well, let's do it over here. So tan 30 degrees is going to be equal to sine 30 degrees over cosine of 30 degrees. And you know sine 30 is half, so we can say that's equal to half divided by cosine 30 degrees is root 3 over 2. Now because it is fraction, we need to remove the multiplication, we need to remove the division and put multiplication and then flip the fraction on the right. So this is going to be 2 over root 3, which this cancel and this cancel, and this will give you 1 over root 3. But we're going to rationalize this by multiplying root 3 and root 3 here. So you will end up with root 3 over 3. So what I'm going to do now is find what the numerator would be, because if you try to do this all in one go, you might end up with some mistakes along the way. So let's just take the numerator, which is the top part of the fraction. So if we just take the numerator, then we will get tan 45 is 1 plus tan 30, we've just done it, is root 3 over 3. If you add these two fractions, these two numbers, you will get 3 plus root 3 over 3. Now let's do the denominator. So denominator, that's going to be equal to 1 minus tan 45 is 1, so 1 times tan 30. Now we know tan 30 is root 3 over 3. Put these together, you will get 3 minus root 3 over 3. So that is the denominator. Let's go ahead and now put our numerator and denominator together. Right, so now we have our numerator. We can put in 3 plus root 3 over 3 divide by the denominator, which is 3 minus root 3 over 3. So if we remove the division, we get 3 plus root 3 over 3 times 3 over 3 minus root 3. Okay, so we can cancel that, and then we are left with 3 plus root 3 over 3 minus root 3. Now, you know that we can't leave this form because there is a radical there. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to rationalize the denominator. So I'm just going to go ahead and rationalize that. So 3 plus root 3 over 3 minus root 3. What do I need to do? Well, the difference of two squares. So that means I need to do 3 plus root 3 here and balance it. So I need to do the same on top. And this will give me 3 times 3 is 9, and then I will have 6 root 3, and then root 3 times root 3 will give me 3, and then this will end up with 3 times 3 is 9, and then take away root 3 square is 3. So you'll end up with 9 plus 3, which is 12, plus 6 root 3 over 9 take away 3 is 6. Let's simplify this over here. Well, 6 is common, so I can do 6 and then 2 here plus root 3 over 6. So 6 and 6 will cancel. So my final answer would just be 2 plus root 3. So make sure you write this neatly in your book because I'm limited with what I can write on my page here. And now for question 10, we're told in a primary school of 150 pupils, 50 study Hisabati, 70 study science, and 40 study both subjects. So that's very important, they are both. By using the appropriate formula, calculate the number of pupils who study neither Hisabati and no science. So we need to find students who are not taking these two subjects. So let's just put down what we have here to make it all clear in our head. What we have number of everybody. So we put number of the elements in the universal set. So NU is equal to 150, and then we've got number of Hisabati is equal to 50, and then we've got number of science is equal to 70, and then we have number of Hisabati intersection science equals to 40. These are the students that take both subjects. So the formula that we need is number of students who are not doing science or Hisabati. So union, we use not the intersection, union science, and it has to be the complement, which is going to be equal to number of all the elements in the universal set, take away all the students who are taking either Hisabati or sciences. So number of H or, so we use or, we will use U for all, or science. Now this is what we need to find because we've got that one, and this is what we've been asked to find. So let's find this one. Well, now there's two ways of doing this. You can find this using the Venn diagram, but you can also use a formula. So I'm just going to quickly use the formula. So number of H union S is going to be equal to the number of H plus the number of science minus the number of H intersection S. So we need to find this. Number of H union S is going to be equal, number of H we know is 50 plus the number of science is 70 minus the number of H and S equals to that is equal to 40. So the answer to this is going to be equal to 80. Now we can go back and use our formula here. So the number of students who are not taking these two subjects, HUS complement is going to be equal to 100, take away 80, which is equal to 70 pupils. And now for the last part of this paper, then we're told the marks of 61 students are represented in the following table. So over here we have marks in percentages, and then we have number of students. So for example, there were 3 students who got 30%, and we can see all the number and the marks they got. Now we're told, from the table, answer the following questions. Which mark was scored by few students? So few means the minimum amount of the minimum number of students. So we look for the smallest number of students over here, and I can see the smallest number of students is 2. So that means that only 2 students got 90%. The question is which mark? So we need to say 90%. What was the highest mark? Well, we can see the smallest mark is 30% and the highest was 90%. So the highest mark is 90%. Now it says if 50% was the pass mark in the examination, how many students passed the examination? So we go to 50% is right there. So anything from there, that way is the number of students who got 50% or more. What we have to do is add all these number of students. So we can see 50% got 10, and then 60% there were 18 students, and then 9 students for 75, and then 4 students for 80%, and then 3 students for 85%, plus 2 students for 90%. We add all this up and we get 46 students. Which mark was scored by many students? So we're looking for the highest number of students who scored the same mark. Well, I can see here the highest number of students here is 18, and those students scored 60%. So the question is, which mark was scored? Obviously, we're looking for mode here. The most common mark was 60%. So the answer is 60%. Right, this is the end of this paper. If you have enjoyed this paper, please remember to press like and subscribe, because there's going to be many more past papers solved on my channel. Bye for now.